Hello there, and welcome to our presentation. We've decided to take on Challenge 3, Supply Chain Forecasting. Let's set the scene. Every year, Rolls-Royce commits billions in supply chain spend to the CFO. Every year, those forecasts fade, and £1 billion of capital sits trapped. Nobody trusts the number. Program directors know their forecasts are wrong. They just can't say why or what to do about it. So here's a challenge. The supply chain is messy, fast, and spread across systems, and is difficult to interpret with confidence. Because of all this, forecasts are often presented in ways that erode the CFO trust, look up capital, and create hesitation from investors. The result, decisions are made on data that isn't fully understood. That increases risk, not just because the data isn't there, but due to it not being transformed into decision-grade, reliable insights that stakeholders can confidently act on.
We spoke to professionals in the field, and they weren't asking for more complex model or data. They needed forecasts that they can stand behind in front of the CEO, needed transparency, and needed to understand the assumptions, and they needed to know which suppliers are driving volatility. At this core, this isn't a technical problem, it's a confidence problem.
Rolls-Royce has already experienced what happens when confidence breaks down. The Trent 1000 program cost $2.4 billion in remediation. An initial $544 million estimate became $790 million in just 6 months. Then it rose again to $1.4 billion. Forecast after forecast kept increasing, with no clear visibility on why and no early warning to intervene. Eventually, maintenance costs exceeded the revenue from contracts themselves. This is exactly the failure that we're trying to prevent.
So what's driving this? Directors are signing numbers they don't trust, and the real causes of error, suppliers and contracts aren't visible early enough.
There is no forward-looking warning, and reporting explains what happened but never what to do next. And so our mission was born, to bring confidence and clarity to supply chain decision-making to the development of DemandAI, an AI supply chain forecasting dashboard built for operations and planning teams to spot demand shifts, load stock risks and service issues at a glance. It turns raw sales, inventory and delivery data into clear KPIs, charts and alerts you so that you can act on what matters the fastest.
So this is the DemandAI dashboard, and here in the center we've got an active shipment tracker, and it's interactable. I can scroll, I can zoom in, and then I can click on each active shipment and it gives all the details here. And on the left we've got portfolio forecast for this period and program 1, and we've got forecast failure index, we've got optimism bias, we've got the failure rates, we've got more data and graphs here below. For the program director, we've got commit decision and the recommended commit average, and it's made by AI, so it's given us the 1.5 million. And on the right we've got the confidence statement, and that's made by AI too, to advise and summarize for the program director. And below we've got more charts and graphs, which should help the program director make better decisions. Same with this AI program briefing. Next we've got the CFO, so they've got more like financial dashboard. So with the value at the top, we've got another AI briefing for the CFO. They give a summarized view of it, they give key risks and bullet points, they give recommendations on what they should do, and they've got more data for the CFO to analyze and make a decision. Next we've got the commercial manager. Here are the data that's present, and we have another AI briefing for the AI commercial manager. Obviously summarized again, key risks in bullet points, recommendations and what they should do, and here's the data for the supplier watch list. Keeps going. Next we've got the controls lead, got more data here, and again an AI control briefing, which again summarizes key risks, the recommendation which they should do. Here's a chart, more data and what the control leads needs. This is for them. Next we've got schedule, 2025 forecast arrivals, auto PO lines, already committed cash. This is the arrival calendar, how much will be spent each month, how much is coming. Next with the shipment arrivals, shows what shipment is coming when, where, by who, estimated, any status updates. Then we've got the period details, as you can see, the supplier arrival links and final forecast. You can also change high contrast and light mode and dark mode, and you can import Excel spreadsheet to change the data.
Onto the high-level architecture. We have the data layer that supplies the supply chain info. We've got the processing, which turns raw data into readable data into the engine. The engine layer, which calculates the smart data. And we've got the output layer, which displays strategic, concise data, like quantitative and qualitative data. And that's fed into the personas layer, which hands on a silver dish to the employees to make the right decision.
Let's go back to that 77% forecast error, 1.3 billion locked up. Even a 40% conservative reduction, which sits well in industry standards, would release 525 million in capital within 12 months. And we're not claiming to make perfect forecasts. That's why every CAPA includes confidence ranges, so decision makers understand both the number and the risk behind it. Why not just buy Oracle, SAP, Access? Because they forecast demand, we forecast confidence. SAP and Oracle are built for operational volume planning. Inside a 7-figure ERP footprint. Can access runs on manufacturing scenarios, none of which explain why forecasts fail, nor do they tell the program director what they need to do this week. They help you build a plan. We help you trust it.
But what do we do differently? DemandAI is different in 3 key ways. We're diagnostic, not descriptive, so we explain why the forecasts fall down to the suppliers and the contract. We are prescriptive, not reactive, so every risk comes with the lever to pull before variance lands. And finally, we are purpose-built for program spend. No LP migration, no 12-month rollout, and no 7-figure license. Other competitors optimize a plan. We audit the plan's credibility. That's a physical layer sitting above any planning tool.
So the data inputs that this project requires is supply chain forecast data, contract metadata, the spend forecast, actual forecast data, and the data that we don't require, it's optional, is region, transport carrier name, and commodity. The CFO will include stuff like financial planning, reporting, managing cash flow, budgeting, and forecasting. And compare that with the commercial manager. That will include stuff like managing contracts, procurement, supplier relationships, and overseeing pricing strategies. And compare that with the project control lead. It will include stuff like establishes and monitors projects, and then tracks performance against baselines and identifies variance.
So we will address the lack of supplier behaviour by analysing data from previous suppliers to analyse delays, amongst others. We would also provide geopolitical risk data to provide live data, especially in regions where there's a lot of hostility, and we would aim for reducing inventory dimensions to reduce costs.
And finally, the note we'd like to leave you on is commit with confidence. Thank you.